good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on the time zone that you are following. Dear authors and invited guests, it's my great pleasure today to welcome you to the 6th International Congress on Information and Communication Technology, on information throughout Zoom, on behalf of ICICT 2021 and the Global Research Foundation. Uh, Unfortunately, we are passing through a very hard circumstances and unseen situation due to COVID-19. So we wish everyone and their families to have a safe time, and we are sure that we will pass through this very soon based on the efforts of researchers, scientific, and the overall humanitarian system, which will still forever strong to pass through the hard circumstances and challenges. Further, I have a positive and good news to tell you, which is with immense happiness. I would like to share that we have received overwhelming response to our conference this year, which is a positive sign that we are coming through the hard situations and we are taking the full part of the cup. So we received across 90 countries 1,150 papers. Across them, 350 were accepted, and they will be published in the next 4 volumes this year. So I'm thankful for you for joining this conference digitally, and we will all enjoy your presentations and share the sharing of the technical knowledge. Allow me to welcome you to the session 1.5, and for sure I will start with welcoming our chair for this session, Dr. Dargesh Kumar Mishra. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly, but the rich profile,
Thank you.
uh, thank you. But the rich profile will let you all impressed like what was my situation. Dr. Mishra has received MT Tech degree in computer science from DAVV Indore in 1994 and PhD degree in computer engineering in 2008. Presently, he has been working as a professor and director in Microsoft Innovation Center at Shiri in India Institution of Technology in India. He is also visiting faculty of IIT Indore in India as well. He has 24 years of teaching experience and 10 years of research experience. So we are lucky today to have you, Doctor. He has completed his PhD under guidance of the late Dr. M. Jandwa on secure multi-party computing for perceiving privacy. He has published more than 90 papers and referenced in referred international national journals and conferences, including IEEE, ACM conference, and others. He has organized many such conferences like WOCN, GONSEG, and CSI BIG in capacity of conference general chair and editor of conference proceeding. His publication listed in many well-known and well-recognized uh, journals and databases such as Elsevier and Scopus. He's a senior member of IEEE and held many positions like chairman of IEEE MB subsection between 2011 and 2012. Also, he became the chairman of IEEE Computer Society, Pompey chapter, and he holds many other positions. Due to time limitation, we can't mention. In CSI, chairman, CSI division, IV communication at national level. Also, he visited and delivered his invited talk in Taiwan, Bangladesh, Singapore, Nepal, USA, UK, and France. He has authored a book on database management system. He has been a consultant to sales tax and labor department of government of Madhya in India. He has been awarded with paper present award at international level by CSI. He visited MIT and presented his presentation on security and privacy Also, he has chaired a panel on digital monetization and Nobel winner in 21st century at Boston. He became a member of Bureau of Indian Standard (BIS) and many other security domain institutions. So, welcome our chair, and I'm really thankful to the chance that allowed me to introduce a figure like you. Uh, you will be the chair for this session, and all audience and participants are motivated to hear your feedback, questions, and improvement of their presentation. So now let's move to the first presentation and welcome Mr. Ayoub Alberbi from Morocco on behalf of the co-authors who will present his paper Enhanced Dual Band Stop Filter with Stepped Image Resolution using computer-aided optimized technique. So,
Hello.
Mr. Ayoub, we are
Thank
listening
you.
to your presentation and thanks for your contribution.
Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly. Can you please share your screen and go ahead?
Yeah,
You will
clear,
have
clear.
10 to 12 minutes. I will raise a ball, this ball, when the time is almost over, 2 minutes and 2 minutes. And the rest of 3 minutes will be for the discussion. Uh, Before going to the presentation, please make sure that everyone is muted unless it is the speaker, and all questions are welcomed in the chat box. If anyone has any technical issue, he can share the presentation and I will share it from my side.
Thank
So,
you.
so the mic is yours, Mr. Ayub, and we are listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Firoz.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Ayoub Al-Berberi, and today I will present you my work with title Enhanced Dual Band Stop Filter with Stepped Impedance Resonator using a computer-aided optimization technique. For is the screen showing?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Oh, thank you. Okay, for introduction, 5G new radio is a new radio access technology developed by 3GPP for the 5th generation of the network. 5G new radio, like most modern techniques, demand high accuracy in many situations like ours due to microwave structure complexity. The theoretical model only gives the initial design that requires an optimization so he can meet the design specification. This filter is designed for 5G new radio with the band N15 and 78, centered at respectively at 1.5 gigahertz and 3.5 gigahertz. This is the filter. So based on the theoretical approach, we can design this filter. This filter is simulated using the subtracts of permissivity of 5 and high of 1.4 millimeter. So this is the fine model, the high fidelity model. So we can, the design parameter for the optimization are L0 and L1 and 2 and 3. So because it's symmetric, so we take this for this for parameter and 2. So this is the results of the simulation of the fine model high fidelity. Based only in the theoretical model approach, So we can see that in the first band and the second band, it's centered at 2. The stop band centered at 2 and 5 with the bands that not satisfy the design specification of the filter. 1.5 and 2.5. We see that the two bands not the same. So we need an optimization. So for the optimization, we use an adjusted tuning space mapping. The adjustment is made in the tuning model using our engineering expertise and knowledge of the design problem. So this approach based on, first of all, we divide the fine model, the high fidelity model, and we insert co-calibrate ports and in the edges of the area we want to optimize. So after that, we take the data of the divided file model and a fast circuit simulator, the low fidelity model. So we can perform the optimization here, because if we want to perform an optimization in the file model high fidelity, it takes a lot of time and space. And so this is our model, our low fidelity model, with the data of the divided model is inputted in the data set here. And we insert a Microsoft line here. We give them zero, initial zero, for in the reason so that the coarse model, the low fidelity model response meets the fine model response. So after this, we perform the optimization. This is the optimization goals that we need, and the optimization is this, and we use the gradient method that's applied in the error function, so we can know which direction of the optimization we can take, so that the error function can be zero. So after the optimization in the coarse model, after a small time, a very, very small time, we can have the results. We see that the first band is 1.5 and the second band is 3.5, and that met our design specification of this filter. So after that, this is only the coarse model optimization. So we need to transform this parameter, this adjustment we get to the fine model. After transformation, we simulate the fine model optimization, and we see that it's good result. Well, the first band is 1.5 and second sunset at 0.5. Thank you for this.
Thank you for the presentation, the idea, and the great efforts. Before moving back to our chair, is there any question or any inquiry from the participants and the audience? Okay, since we don't
Yes,
have...
I have one question.
Yeah,
Hello.
we will get back to you. Yeah, we now will get back to our chair and listening to his input. Yes, doctor, please.
Yeah, this excuse me. Hello. I'll request
Hello,
the
Professor.
author. I request to the authors. You have made this dual band stop filter. Now I have a question. During this optimization, you have the start from the 0.5 megahertz and stop at 6 megahertz. No, this why we start from 0 megahertz? Why this frequency you had taken for the optimization?
Because this is the band we choose from the new 5G generation.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the introduction. We choose two bands to perform this filter.
Okay.
Anyway.
But in the 4G, if you talk about the 4G generations, it's again this is a very is there any window in this megahertz to start the optimization?
We start the optimization from the initial design, based on the theoretical model that not give us what we want. So after that, we perform the optimization.
Okay.
We base the initial design and the theoretical model.
Okay.
So this is the idea of this method, because it can escape. We can escape the theoretical model. So because in this new technologies, and there are a high demand for accuracy. So the theoretical model doesn't give us high accuracy. So we need advanced method optimization that take a small time and give us good results like this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation and the input from our chair. Okay, so now we will move quickly to our next presentation. and discuss another interesting topic after presenting the paper titled as SMEs in South Africa, the era of adopting mobile payment solution by Mr. Alec Shankby on behalf of the co-authors. So we are all listening. Could you please just turn the mic on and share the slides?
Afternoon, morning, evening, Fairuz, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Yes.
I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Know when you can see my screen.
We can see it now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can start. Go ahead.
As mentioned, Alec Chingapi. I'll be presenting SMEs in South Africa, the era of mobile payment solutions, with my co-author, Adriana Stein. Take you through the introduction, literature review on SMEs and mobile payment ecosystem, as well as the methodology we use to carry out findings and analysis based on our qualitative research, then conclusions and recommendations. The mobile device has become an extension of the human body within the 21st century. The mobile phone is seen as a gateway to our social lives. We use it to access Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter using their apps to keep in touch with our social circles. From a professional perspective, we access our work emails, Teams meetings, Zoom meetings, and any other documents that we need using our mobile phones. Even speaking into our personal lives from a financial perspective, we use mobile apps on our phones to perform banking, to access mobile wallets, to perform financial transactions such as payments. So delving into payments that we can carry out using our mobile phones, we ventured into the mobile payment ecosystem, where there are various actors such as consumers, merchants, service providers, and mobile payment solution providers. So within merchants, there are subsets of entities, and we specifically focused on SMEs, which are small, medium businesses or small, medium enterprises. And the importance of SMEs has been well researched, specifically even in developing countries such as South Africa. They are seen as key building blocks for the economy as well as the society. They provide jobs as well as social upliftment. If we go into the mobile payments specifically, mobile payments started in the late 1990s. And from a research perspective, the research started picking up in early 2000s by Karat in 2002, who saw it as a subset of electronic commerce. However, the amount of research then increased, and in 2007, Dalberg, Malat, and Andres, they conducted a literature review, and what they found was there's a large number of research output, but most of it focused on the consumer as an actor within the mobile payment ecosystem, as well as the technology. A further review in 2015, and Google also noted that out of the 188 papers that they reviewed, there was still a strong sense and a strong feedback or strong research associated with consumer adoption as well as technology. And there have been consistent calls for more research into the other actors such as merchants, such as the financial service providers, and how they behave within the mobile payment ecosystem. So this was on the basis that to move the mobile payment ecosystem and the research forward, we need to have more diverse research instead of taking the easy way out and focusing on consumer adoption. We then focused specifically in our question to ask and to understand what factors impact the SMEs usage of mobile payments within the context of South Africa. We took note that previous research had been done by, for example, Pidugu in 2015, focusing on SnapScan, which is a specific mobile payment solution in South Africa. Kalan focused on a specific area in Cape Town. Mhlongo focused on, again, a specific area within townships within South Africa. And found within the literature, which then helped us to proceed with to answer our question, There was a number of factors that had been identified in the earlier research, some stemming from consumer adoption research and some from genuine merchant adoption research, such as incompatibility with existing business practices, costs relative to a substitute, perceived risk, and business model. So what we then proceeded to do was to take these factors that had been identified in previous literature in different environments and put together a SME mobile payment conceptual framework. So we have highlighted the factors that were identified in previous research to say these are the factors that will influence a merchant adopt. These are the actors that have been identified in previous literature, well as the forces that are upon this ecosystem, such as regulations, legalities, the improvement in technology, commerce, speaking to business models, as well as we then proceeded to do was to test out the validity of this conceptual framework by interviewing 18 small business owners or 18 SMEs across South Africa. We used semi-structured interviews that spoke to the conceptual framework, with our interviews ranging from 20 to 60 minutes. And as I've mentioned, this is across most provinces within South Africa, and we used in vivo and Excel coding as part of our research process. So the table presented is a brief overview of the 18 SMEs at a high level. What we found interesting was the variety or the diversity in terms of the industries that these respondents came from. A lot of it is in retail, but we saw hospitality, fast food outlets, retail in terms of businesses that sold women's clothing, secondhand bookstores, some online health stores who then sold their products online, but upon delivery would accept payments using mobile payment solutions. Another interesting observation was the variety of payment solutions in terms of the technology. For example, Yoko requires that the SME or business owner purchase a device or rent a physical device that has to be Bluetoothed to their device, to their mobile phone, as part of concluding a payment transaction. SnapScan, very different, or requires that both the consumer and the SME or merchant have the SnapScan app on their phone, as well as a QR code as part of concluding the payment transaction. Another variation was the Airtel cable, which was eventually discontinued, showed that the merchant had to plug their device as part of the transaction. What then came out, what we found was not all factors were valid or resonated strongly. Such factors such as trusts came through. Risks were strong factors that were identified by all the users, all the SMEs. New factors that were identified, such as business processes, where one indicated that they adopted mobile payments due to a lack of electricity or continued power shortages, and hence they went and took on mobile payment solutions as an alternative. Just going to did was update the conceptual framework based on the new identified factors, and these were updated in here. So, in conclusion, there's a need for an all-encompassing understanding of technological, organizational, and environmental factors within the SME context in terms of their usage of payment technologies. And factors such as customer service, company image, and credibility showed that, or the emergence of these factors showed that non-technology factors also play a significant role in influencing the adoption of mobile payments by SMEs, which is in slight contrast to the previous research, which focused more on technology. Of recommendation, an increased focus or more research into merchants within the ecosystem, as well as more testing on the validity of this mobile payment conceptual framework, potentially in a different context, as well as using different data collection methods to validate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Since we don't have any questions from the participants, we will move to our chair again and listen to his feedback and input.
Thank you, Alik. It's a nice presentation. Now, I have one question with you, or even then one question, or I want some information from you. in Africa, if you talk about the mobile payment solutions, you work hard on this analysis of the data using Excel, right? Can you can you tell me about something? What you think the drawback of mobile payment solutions and what we can do enhancement in this?
Thank you,
Ali,
Professor. Yes, can you hear me?
got my question?
Yes, I did, Professor. Thank you. I think to enhance our understanding, further research is needed. So speaking, for example, in South Africa, we have tried, for example, Vodacom came through with M-Pesa a few years ago and had to pull out of the market because it failed, and other companies have tried. So I think deeper customer research and insights is needed to understand why in some instances, mobile payments fail. In some countries, they pass. So for example, in Kenya, well-known cases in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, mobile payments work quite well, whereas in South Africa, not so quite well. And some of the initial research speaks to the fact that maybe South Africa's stronger banking system does not necessitate a different payment method. So I think more continued research is required to strengthen our understanding.
Okay. The second question is whether the African people is interested to go with the mobile payment or still they wants to do the payment in other methods?
Based on what the findings, they are interested in a solution that allows quicker and easier form of transaction. So speaking to, for example, if I'm transacting using a bank, it could take 2 to 3 days if we are transacting from different banks, whereas in the use of mobile payment solutions, in some countries has removed that 3-4 day time period. So there is an interest, but I think it also depends on the context and environment that it comes into play.
Right. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for the presentation and
thank you,
thank you for the presentation and the discussion. Now we will move forward to another presentation, another idea, this time from China. We will welcome Mr. John Yang Piak on behalf of the co-authors to present his paper titled as Data Protection Based on Hidden Space in Windows Against Ransomware. So the mic is yours and we have a time to listen. As you have discussed, 12 minutes, then we will move to the questions and answers.
Hi. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen and listen and hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I will start.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Junyong Bat. I work in Tiangong University in China. I'm so happy to present my paper at this conference. In this presentation, I will show you a new backup mechanism against ransomware attack. This backup solution uses the fundamental functionality of Windows operating system. This is the outline of this presentation. First, I will show you why a backup system for Windows is an urgent problem against ransomware. Second, I will talk about the background of my proposal and previous backup systems. Then I will explain a new ADS-based file backup mechanism. Finally, I will share the experimental result and conclude this presentation. Some of you might have heard about ransomware. Ransomware is a type of malicious software. It has become one of the biggest threats in cybersecurity since 2013. WannaCry ransomware is the most famous one. It infected 200,000 computers across 150 countries in May 2017. Most of operating systems have been attacked by ransomware. Among them, Windows operating system as the major target. It was reported that 99.7% of the attacks target computers using Windows operating system in January 2019. In this slide, I will explain what ransomware is. Ransomware encrypts user files with an encryption key. In other words, the user files are locked by the attacker like this. Then ransomware deletes the original user file in order to prohibit them from being recovered. Finally, it demands a ransom for its decryption key. Next, I will talk about alternative data streams called ADS. This is a default functionality of Windows operating system. ADS allows data to be attached to a regular file or directory in a special way. This command makes secure data.txt in C directory attached to calculator program. Here, we don't call this attached data an ordinary file anymore. It has a string form. So this hidden underscore data is a new string name of the attached secure data.txt. ADS has a distinct characteristics. The attached stream data is not exposed by normal interface like Windows Explorer. So ADS can serve as hidden space. Let's see previous backup systems. Local backup system saves files to local drives, and remote backup system backs up files to remote server. There are some drawbacks from both systems. First, the local backup system requires modification on the internals of operating system or local drives. And remote backup system cause network overhead because original files are transferred to remote server via network. From now on, I will explain a new backup mechanism using ADS. The goal of this proposal is to easily integrate the functionality of file backup to Windows system. But we have to overcome these three challenges. First, we have to add file backup functionality without any kernel level modification. Second, the backup space have to be invisible to ransomware. Finally, files have to be backed up without any evidence that ransomware is able to identify. For this, our mechanism uses ADS and in-memory data structure. The use of ADS solves the first and second challenges, and in-memory data structure has a lot to do with the final challenge because ransomware doesn't care about in-memory data. This is the architecture of our backup system. This is basically client-server system, but metadata of backup files such as stream names is saved in a remote server. And very important files are in this critical area. So our system monitors any activity of only the critical area. Then there is a secure zone. Secure zone is based on ADS. Thus, original files are saved in secure zone. Next, stream-ID buffer runs on RAM memory, so it's free from ransomware attack. It has metadata of backup files. This stream-ID server also has the same metadata of backup files. It is able to keep them permanently, unlike the stream-ID buffer. There are two main components for this proposal. First, Backup Manager is responsible for backing up original files and managing the stream names of the backup files. It monitors suspicious activity in the critical area. When any modification to files in the critical area is detected, their original files are backed up this secure zone before they are modified. At the same time, Backup Manager inserts this stream name of the backup files to stream-ID buffer and sends the same stream name to stream-ID server. Here, the stream name in the path of the attached backup file. You need to know the stream name because it is the only way to access the attached data to ADS hidden space. So the stream name functions as the recovery key when you want to recover the file. Next, I will talk about Server Manager. It stores and manages the received stream names in stream-ID server. And it interacts with the Backup Manager to update stream names in a synchronous manner. For evaluation, we used a realistic ransomware sample called Jigsaw Ransomware. 800 files were used as victim files. They consist of 800 file formats, which are common targets of ransomware.
So, dear, sorry for interruption. We have 1 minute left for the presentation.
Okay. We compare our mechanism with the existing system. Both system has a user system and remote server, but our system sends only stream names of backup files to the server, which is different from the traditional system. First of all, both systems backs up all the 800 victim files perfectly. As shown this table, our mechanism reduced the average file backup time by minimizing the network overhead compared to the traditional system. To conclude, we proposed a new backup mechanism based on ADS in Windows operating system. The approach is integrated into Windows system without any kernel level modification. The experimental result shows that our new solution greatly reduced the amount of backup time and successfully protected all of the target files.
So thank you for the presentation, the idea and the great efforts. Now we will get back to our chair for his input and questions.
Right.
Yes,
Thank you, John. Your topic was very excellent, and you are working good on that. But again, there is one question in this backup. This is a file backup, and because you are using ADS plus in-memory data structure, you are using for the backup, right? But always you know that the backup we will take for the some time. Okay, how we can ensure about that? If the ransomware attack on a system, you will get restore the entire data without losing the time of a minute or second.
Thank you for your question, Professor. Here, okay. Proper manager monitor this critical area by using hooking techniques. And we only focused on write and delete operation because ransomware this kind of operation to encryption files. So when we detect identify such suspicious activity, we uh, uh, we moved its original files to this secure zone.
Okay.
So that means we back up this original file before these original files uh, are modified.
Right. 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 Thank you. Thank you, John. For some nice explanations.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for the presentation. And now let's move to the next step, next presentation. This time we will present another interesting paper titled as Crime Mapping Approach for Crime Pattern and Identification, a prototype for the provenance of crime by Mr. Arias and on behalf of the co-authors from Filipinos. So the mic is yours. We are all listening. Could you please share your screen and start the presentation? Thank you.
Good evening from the Philippines. Do you hear me? Let me first share my screen.
Yes, please.
Good evening from the Philippines. My research title is Crime Mapping Approach for the Province of Cavite. It is an approach for identifying crime pattern. Yours truly, Aris M. Galera, MSICT from the Cavite State University ICICT campus, Rosario, Cavite, Philippines. With our introduction, has a land area of 1,574.17 square kilometers with approximate population as of 2016 of 4,200,891. Cavite is one of the most developed provinces in the country. Crime rates are still providing a great impact because of so many complex causes. Example of these are population, lack of education, poverty, addiction to drugs, parental neglect, low self-esteem, alcohol, and impatience. Moreover, with the absence of crime mapping in the province, people who live in the area are more vulnerable to crime incidents due to lack of data dissemination and, of course, communication to its people around the area. According to the report of the Philippine National Police Calabarzon as of 2016, from January to May 2016, there are a total of 5,987,000 total of crime recorded, which are 1,638 cases for index crime and 4,349 cases for non-index crime. To elaborate the difference between these two types of crime, index crime refers to crime against a person and property, while non-index crime refers to accident in the road, such as reckless imprudence resulting to different crimes. That is based here in the Philippines. Additionally, on November 2017, a statistical report was conducted identifying how safe Cavite is when people are walking alone. So during daylight, there is a 75%, and 46.05% during night. Objectives of the study is to design and develop a web-based crime mapping system for the province of Cavite. Specifically, to map crime incident using point feature and image feature techniques with geographic information. To identify crime pattern and crime incident concentration using spatial method. To develop modules that will generate tabular and graphical spatial reports, and to test the prototype in terms of data accuracy. For the methodology, use system methodology called iterative model because of its ability to alter previous stages and by conducting series of development depending on the features needed. For the first step, requirements, which data gathering and data analysis is included, followed by design and development step, which I perform the actual designing and coding of the website. For the implementation, wherein the website will be uploaded in a web hosting site. For the result, in order to attain the objectives of the study, I conducted a series of tests to different modules of the website, such as the homepage. I also conducted tests in the crime mapping, crime pattern page, sheet map, and with the graph reports. Accuracy test of crime coordinates. This test was done by identifying if the coordinates of the crime record is same with the coordinates provided by the smartphone's graphical positioning system. The test table shows that the latitude and longitude of the crime record is completely same, having a range of differences from 0 to 0.0050 as compared to the coordinates determined using smartphone's GPS. Here are the sample screenshots of the test conducted. Accuracy test of crime pattern map. This test shows the crime pattern map provides accurate spatial pattern by comparing the crime count of a specific criminal to the number of crime connected as displayed to the map. Sample screenshot of crime pattern test results. As you can see, a crime pattern done by Boeing is being connected to each other. Another example is crime pattern of Lindo. Another pattern of crime is with Efren. To fully understand the website, I'll be providing on how the website works. Crime pattern for end user, as you can see, with the letter A, it is filter crime record button, allows user to filter to be displayed in the Google map. B, displays 2D layer map. C, displays satellite layer map. D, displays tiled layer map. For the letter E, it allows to zoom in and zoom out the map. Letter F, crime marker, when clicked, crime data will be displayed. And then letter G allows the user to go back to home page. Another page for you to be able to understand how the website works. For the letter A, which is this, it is the location, allows user to filter crime record by location, either cities or municipality within the Cavite area. For the letter D, crime type allows user to filter crime record by crime type, index or non-index crime. Crime status allows the user to filter crime record by status, either solved, unsolved, under investigation. Data range allows user to filter crime record by selected specific date. And E, search now button, when crime filtered will be displayed to Google Maps. For the admin, to be able to access the admin page, the user must click the police section. And then the login button, the login section will appear. For this, the admin, the dashboard allows the user to have quick access to total counts of crime record, active police station, crime status, and top crime. For the crime record, allows user to access manage crime record, manage crime type, and manage crime pattern. For the statistics and reports, it allows user to generate different reports such as complex report and statistical report. And lastly, commercial allows user to commercially use the website. There is also a super admin with an additional feature. The additional feature is the account record, allows the super admin to add account, manage account, view police action to the system, and manage police stations. For the summary of findings, the salient findings of the study based on its objectives are as follows. For number one, the crime mapping website has the ability to map crime incident and provide accurate information of a specific crime using Google Map API. Users of the website has the ability to add, update, and delete crime incident information and crime marker. That also has the ability to update recorded crime by inputting crime suspect to be able to the website to provide crime pattern map of a specific criminal. Also, the website can provide a crime heat map for the law enforcement agencies to be able to easily identify location of crime concentration. It also has the capability to provide different reports in tabular and graphical representations to easily track crime pattern of crime records using a spatial method. Moreover, for the last, number three, the website is accurate in terms of crime mapping by providing crime information and marker, displaying appropriate crime pattern map of a specific criminal or suspect, and displaying crime record using different layers of map. However, the response of the website will depend upon the speed of our internet connection, especially here in the Philippines. For the conclusion and recommendation, web application is not popular because it is easy to use even with technological development. Website has only for enterprise. Website has developed to meet society's needs, and it also used not only for enterprises, but also for predictive functions and support for decisions. The study suggested that the crime mapping website be revised on the basis of the results to use an external feature such as spatial temporal analysis that can be used to forecast potential hotspot crime. It is also recommended that the government has full assistance to resolve the growing number of crimes in the Cavite province, to the provision of regular police patrols and capacity building training programs. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, the ideas, the organization of the results, and the great effort. Before moving to our chair, there is a question on the chat box who are asking if it's possible to share the title of your paper.
I will share my development.
Yeah, if possible, share it with us or write it to the chat box.
Here is the title: Crime Mapping Approach
Yeah.
for Crime Pattern Identification, a prototype for the province of Cavite.
Okay. So thank you for the answer. And now our chair, the mic is yours, and we are
Yeah,
your feedback. Yeah.
yes, I have little questions, and then that's Aries, you are explaining very well the index and non-index crime. But for the Google Map, you can use the API and all these things.
Yes.
Yeah, you use the API.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then how you can insert the values into the particular target positions in the longitude and latitude? You know, can you use the spatial database? Can you use the spatial coordinates to map this crime in the Google Map?
Rough, actually, the Google Map API can automatically identify the exact location by pinpointing the map. So automatically, it can produce the latitude and the longitude of a specific area.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Aris. It was the nice initiative taken by you.
Okay, so thank you for the questions and the discussion. Now let's continue to the next step and another presentation for the paper titled as the classification of smartphone users based on demographic and technological properties by Mr. Rajha and on behalf of the co-authors.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I will share the screen.
Yeah, please.
Right. I'm Rajitha Manilanga from Sri Lanka, currently working as a temporary demonstrator at the Department of Statistics and Computer Science, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. The topic of my research is classification of smartphone users based on demographic and technological properties. So this is the outline of my presentation, starting from introduction, objectives, and then description of the data set, methodology, results and discussions, conclusion, and finally, comparison and contribution with future directions. Nowadays, smartphone usage has grown tremendously. From internet browsing, watching videos, up to mobile banking and online bookings, smartphones have taken place in our day-to-day life. Majority of us are using smartphones to make easy our daily task. So due to this, it generates a huge amount of data. For example, if we consider about using an app, the app usage data are recorded, such as the user's current location, timestamp, likewise. So service providers can use those data to identify consumer behavior, because the app usage may be different from a consumer to consumer, and it will be beneficial for mobile advertising and marketing strategies since it represents their consumers' behaviors. However, data privacy issues are existing in those smartphone data. That's why those data are not much available to the public. So in this study, we aim to identify the effect of demographic and technological properties on smartphone usage. Also to build an approach to use smartphone usage data for advertising and target marketing without disclosing users' privacy. So this approach will be beneficial for the mobile service providers to identify their customer behaviors. This is a brief description of the dataset that we have used in our study. This dataset was provided by Token Data Corporation, which is a main company in China, which provides data intelligence solutions. So this dataset includes data of smartphone users, mobile apps, events, and smartphone brands. Here, when a user uses the Token Data SDK, an event is occurred. With the occurring of that event, several data such as the user's current geographical location and timestamps are recorded. And if we consider about the distribution of the smartphone users regarding gender and age, it is clear that this data set is highly imbalanced, as you can see in those figures. The difference between the number of male and female users are a considerable amount, and majority of the users were between 20 to 35 age group. You may see that in this figure. This is our proposed methodology in our study. We used AdaBoost algorithm, which is a popular technique in an ensemble method in machine learning to build our model. As the first step, we applied data pre-processing techniques to the token data set to handle irregular entries and imbalanced data through undersampling techniques. Then we divided our data set into training and testing subset. We applied the AdaBoost algorithm to the training subset. Here, we focused on classifying the users by their gender and age. So to predict the gender of the mobile smartphone users, we used Adaboo's classifier, and to predict the age of the users, we used Adaboo's regressor. Both regression and classification are widespread areas in machine learning and statistics. So after building the Adaboo's model, we validated it using the testing dataset. So the reason for selecting the Adaboo's algorithm is it showed a higher accuracy than the other methods, such as decision trees, random forest, support vector machines. They also are some popular techniques in machine learning. Also, in order to demonstrate the accuracy of our model, we considered about building a baseline model, and we selected decision tree to build the baseline model. Right, now let's move into the results and discussion section of our research. So it is clear that age affects smartphone brand preference for some age group. As in this figure, Huawei brand showed the popularity among 60 to 80 age group rather than the other age groups. However, almost all the brands were popular among 20 to 50 age group. And then we considered the brand preference and gender of the smartphone users. Here, majority of every brand showed a popularity of men rather than the women. And Huawei and Xiaomi brand, there is a big difference between the number of male users and female users. After that, we considered about the geographical distribution of the smartphone users. So we have found that the geographical distribution was centered into a specific area regardless age and gender of the users. In this figure represent the geographical distribution of 23 to 26 age group, and you may notice that the distribution was centered into the squared area here. So by applying the Adaboo's classifier for gender prediction, we obtained 97% accuracy. Meanwhile, applying the Adaboo's regressor for age prediction, and R2 score of 0.89 was obtained. This figure represents the plot between the actual and predicted values of the age. So since our classification accuracy is more than 90% and the obtained R2 score for age prediction is near 1, we can this model is well performed in classification smartphone users based on demographic and technological properties. And this model showed a higher accuracy than the decision tree model, which was used as the baseline model. This is the conclusion section of our research. We proved that Adaboo's algorithm is capable to classify the smartphone users by their gender and age. Since this is a classification approach, it is eligible to identify customer behavior of the smartphone users. Different smartphone users may use different service providers and they may have different choices. So the classification approach is advantageous to identify the behavior. Through that, the service providers can get more advantages by building mobile advertising strategies in order to increase their profit. And in this study, one good point is the service providers don't have to worry about disclosing users' privacy to use this approach. So they can use this approach to obtain their marketing targets without disclosing users' privacy. Then we compared our contribution with some existing studies. There were some previous studies focused on mobile phone user profiling. However, there are some specifications of this study. We provided a descriptive analysis by identifying the relationships between different demographic and technological properties such as users' age, gender, location, and smartphone brand likewise. And we represented as separate ways to predict gender and age using classification and regression techniques in machine learning rather than providing a single model to predict age group with gender. And we also highlighted the effect of smartphone brands by considering the relationships between the smartphone brand preference, age, and gender likewise. As the future directions, studying about the influence of different app categories is possible. If app categories are well defined, those can be used as a feature to make this classification approach more advanced, and more information can be obtained through that. And if we can for well more advanced classification techniques using the app categories, it will represent a person's manners and a person's usage details. So it is a big advantage for personalized advertising too.
Okay. So thank
This
you
is the
for
end of my research. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you for the presentation and the research. There is very good and motivated words on the chat who are thanking you for the good presentation and research. And you are lucky to not have any questions from the audience, but for sure our chair will have his has his contribution and the questions. So our chair, what's your idea, questions, and the input on this great research?
Rajita,
Yes.
presentation was very nice. You had the classification on the smartphone. But
Yeah.
I have one small questions on that. You use the ADA boost algorithm for these classifications. Why you choose the ADA boost? Because this classification using tree is a very prove that tree is a very good. Okay.
Yeah.
That why you are not using the tree and the other one.
So
First.
we first compared some machine learning techniques include decision trees, and we obtained a higher accuracy than the other methods in using a boost algorithm.
You have checked this? Have you checked this?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the second one is this: you are claiming that you are maintaining the privacy.
Yeah.
How you ensure that? How to validate that the privacy is not breached?
That's
How
I
to,
obtained that through the
because there is no explanation in this your presentations. Only you are saying privacy, privacy. We are making the privacy.
Yeah, I get it. And this dataset was obtained from Token Data Corporation, and they have mentioned an anonymous dataset is presented for the research purposes.
But data is compressed. But how we can say it's a private? Privacy you are making.
That means we cannot identify each user from the record. Therefore, that means that is user A or user B from a record.
When you classify on the basis of gender and age, all these things, you have to decrypt all these things. Okay, you have to decompress all these things because for the computations. As soon as you decompress, then again data is open for all.
Yeah, but from the record here, a unique user cannot be identified.
Okay. Right. Otherwise, you can use some anonymizers for that, for collecting the data. If you use some anonymizer, then I think it will be good in your research. I think so. Otherwise, presentation was very nice. Okay. Then I hope you will do better in this field. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Durgesh.
Thank you for the presentation, the discussion, and the great contribution. Now we will move to our next session. We are almost there. We have still two presentations. The title of the paper is Enhanced AODV Routing Protocol for Intelligent Attract Mitigation and Viral Ad Hoc Networks by Mr. Najwi on behalf of the co-authors. Welcome, and we are listening. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Can you see my slide?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
my name
we
is Claude. My name is Claude Nawesh. I'm presenting this paper here in AODV routing protocol for intelligent attacks mitigation in vehicular ad hoc network. So here are my outline, introduction, the concern and motivation, existing work and gap, implementation, results and analysis, and conclusion. Vehicular ad hoc network, which stands, in short for VANET, is a subgroup of mobile ad hoc network, which is MANET. In MANET, nodes are any mobile devices, whereas in VANET, nodes are strictly vehicles. VANET uses different routing protocol to route packets from one place to another. There exists different routing protocol for VANET. Among them is AODV, an on-demand routing protocol, which with respect to the end-to-end delay performance metrics has been the most proposed in VANET. Due to the changing topology nature of VANET and built on the idea that nodes in AODV should work together to establish path, AODV routing protocol turns out to be vulnerable to attacks in which nodes will drop or misdirect packets. So our concern and motivation is security in VANET is a serious issue because of its network structure with high mobility, just ending up making nodes vulnerable to malicious attacks from the routing perspective. Therefore, instability of the systems, the accident. So speaking about the accident, we've got a record here, according to the 2020 World Report on Road Traffic Injury and Prevention. The World Health Organization report approximately 1.35 million of road accident deaths every year. So there, VANET seems to be a potential solution. We found that it was a potential solution to this road crisis. Therefore, the AODV routing protocol vulnerability needs to be taken care. So, work that exists, we found that several techniques have been used previously to mitigate VANET routing protocol attacks. And one of these techniques is the enhancement, modification of the AODV routing protocol to act differently to the conventional AODV at the network level of its OSI stack. However, when applied at the application level using artificial intelligence, the changes in the protocol show some challenges. So the study proposed an enhancement of the original AODV protocol to give it some intelligent techniques with aim to be able to mitigate attacks on this protocol. From the traditional AODV protocol, what we did actually, we went from the cloning. We went from the cloning there. Then we injected some promiscuous behavior, then malicious node detection method. So the figure below here shows the new protocols implementation. So we started this year with the cloning. We've got the cloning of the old protocol there. Then we injected the promiscuous mode, then malicious behavior, then we get our AODV. This is the new one, the enhanced AODV. So the implementation, how it does here, because in the normal AODV mode operation, root discovery is done by traditional mode operation. Root discovery is done by traditional root discovery process, where nodes ignore packets that arrive in its entirety. They intercept only packets that were specifically addressed to them. Receiving nodes in this mode of operation ensure that the destination address match the addresses. Otherwise, the packet is rejected by the receiving node. Therefore, in that case, we don't have any collective place to seek information rapidly. But in this study, this one of us here, the root discovery method is done using the promiscuous mode techniques, a technique which aims to maintain one global logical table called cache. The cache technique is opposed to the previous mode operation, where there is no existence of a central repository. In this mode, nodes are enabled to overhear packets sent by the neighbor node. Nodes do not listen to data to decide whether the destination address in the RQ is theirs or not. All data packets are captured. All routing evidence that passes over nodes, irrespective of the destination, are kept in the cache. This mode operation works as per this algorithm here. So it starts first. When we start it, it set up a interface, then the interface there, once it's set up, so it's going to check, is the interface established? If it's not established, then it goes back again and try to set up the interface. But when it's the interface is established, it goes back to create the node socket. Once the node socket is created, then it's going to listen to the data inside that socket. Once it's listening to the data inside the socket, then because it's listening to many neighbors, so it has to check and find if all the sockets are created. If all the sockets are not created, so that means that it's not yet listening to all the neighbors, then it start again the creation of socket. But once everything, all the sockets are created, then it's going to extract the addresses and update the cache. So that's how actually the way our promiscuous mode is operating. So for the implementation of the malicious attack detection, here what is happening, it's so there is delicious. So we go in steps actually here. So we initialize malicious variable, then set up condition to get malicious flag from our TCL file. Then we define the flag, then set up condition to drop the packet. The drop method uses two parameters, the P for packet and the flag to help identify from the trace file which packet has been dropped by the malicious node. So, and that,
Yes, sorry, continue, please. Hi.
Hello,
Yeah, hi. Sorry, we can't hear you. Could you please make sure that your mic is working fine?
yes, hello, Novich, can you hear us?
Hi. Yeah. Sorry, can you Can you hear us? Can you make sure that your mic is working fine?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Could you please
Can you hear me?
continue? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So there, so you've got how it works actually. So when we use a conventional AODV protocol, the route is created only when needed. This is a spontaneous process which requires enough resource to be able to act promptly. No permanent central cache is available and no extra information that can be exploited in further intelligent analysis takes place there. But here in this figure of us here, you can see using the new protocol, node 1 broadcasts a message to neighbor node. Malicious node 13 pretends to have a shortest route. It advertises a route which is recorded into the cache and not a table as the case for some proactive protocols. Because the cache is in a volatile temporary storage available easily for retrieval, as opposed to the table which is kept in permanent storage and heavy to retrieve, node 1 makes use of it at its ease. The route goes from node 1 via node 12, which at its turn passes the information to 13, the malicious node. Node 13 drops the the packet. So here you've got the trace file. You can see in the trace file there is a presence of that flag MAEL that can help us in our if we want to do further researches or use the trace file in artificial intelligence or any machine learning. So we've got a plus something that can help us in the original protocol. We didn't have this flag here. And we try to compare from the our trace file. We got the we try to check to compute the average end-to-end delay, and we saw here that the average end-to-end delay for the new protocol it's smaller than the older one, which is actually good, which means here that our protocol is doing well on end-to-end delay side. Even when you check on the packet delivery ratio, we see that because the packet delivery ratio, the higher, the better. So we see here that the new protocol EAODV is better because it's bigger than the old one.
Okay, so is there 1 minute left? Sorry for interruption. Is there 1 minute left?
To conclude in this research, a new protocol called EAODV is presented. This EODV combines the promiscuous mode behavior together with a malicious node concept for mitigation and further intelligent analysis of attacks in VANET. EODV is compared. We compare its average end-to-end and packet delivery ratio, and we saw the trace file features, and it observed that the new protocol is better than the traditional one. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the presentation and the great efforts. Sorry for any technical failure. And now we will get back to our chair for his input.
Yeah, this Cloud, your presentation was very nice, and it's one question. This in a VNet in the vacular network, you are able to identify the malicious node. But can you think about the privacy is the main concern in this? What do you think about that?
In this research here, I didn't really think about the privacy. So maybe that will be a next step that I can take further to try and see how the privacy can be controlled. Because here my concern was only on that security of the routing protocol, so that it shouldn't create accidents or whatever things like that. Okay. But maybe in my I can consider to go further again and improve the paper on the privacy side.
Thank you. When we talk about the security, you know, this is security and privacy are the two faces of the coin. We have to take, we have to consider it parallel. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
It was a nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. And now we will move to the last one for today from the United Kingdom by Mr. Saad Aryami on behalf of the co-authors who will present the paper titled as Cross Dataset Evaluation of Machine Learning Models for Intrusion Detection System. So welcome Mr. Saad, and we are all listening. Hi, are you with us? Yeah, your mic is on now. Please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, so just to please share your screen and go ahead. We are all listening.
To share. Okay. Is the screen showing or?
Yeah, we can see it. Go ahead, please.
I don't know how to zoom it.
No, it's fine. It's clear. If you just go through the slides
Okay.
manually.
So, hello everyone. My name is Said Aryami. It's from University of Liverpool. Thank you everyone for the great presentation. Thank you, Fayrouz and Dr. Darush for managing the session. So my presentation is focusing in cross dataset, or the title is cross dataset evaluation of machine learning model in intrusion detection system. So we'll talk about the general problem here. Data analysis will give how the data analysis is normally done in intrusion detection system. We'll see how the conventional way of evaluating those and what are the problem. And we propose a different way to evaluate. And we'll report the result of the binary and multi-class classification. So the problem is the number of attacks is keep increasing every year. The number of malware is increasing. For example, here in 2016, Symantec reported around 1 million malware detected. Kaspersky is reporting around 360 in that year alone, and so on. So the number of the attacks is keep increasing. And the type of attacks also, it becomes more sophisticated. Sometimes you cannot detect it. For that, it's very difficult for human being to alone detect those attacks. So we need an automations to help us to detect such an attack and such of sophisticated attacks. For that, we have something like IDS, which is like a device of software applications that monitor the network or any system for malicious activity based on anomaly detection or based on certain policy violations. This is from Wikipedia. Just an overview on those systems is sometimes it's located on host-based, where we concern only about CPU instruction, and based on it, we try to get the intrusion, or network-based, where we have traffic. Based on the network traffic, we try to analyze and get the attack. The type, it can be signature-based, where we know the attack previously, and based on those signature, we try to detect, or anomaly-based, which is we don't have a knowledge of the attack, but we know the behavior. And based on it, based on behavior of our system or network, we try to report the attack, or hybrid system where we'll use both of them. And most of the time we use both type. The challenges in intrusion detection system, especially in the network based, is the network is traffic is high in dimensions, and sometimes it's encrypted, so you cannot get access to all of the data of the network. Also, sometimes it's very difficult to access to a labeled data set, and the privacy also concern, because sometimes if the network is not encrypted, certain username and password is exchanged in the network. So we have to concern about the privacy. Different network will behave differently. A big organization network will be behaving different than a small organization. The type of the traffic also, it keeps changing. The protocols itself, it gets a new version. And the data set between researcher is also not agreed, what kind of, because of all of the challenges. The network traffic also diverse, many protocols is there. And some of the research, they're reporting on a private data set, which we don't have access to it. So we cannot check whether the result. And the attacks also, it keep advancing. So it's not still. Let's start with the data analysis part, and we'll see how it can be checked. So in data analysis, we have two parts. We can check it, we can look at it from from different dimensions. First dimension is the stakes. So we have normally a training part where we have a certain data and we want to train on it. And we have a testing part where we test our model and we'll see how it performs. Also, we have different way to split the data or different methodology. One way is handout method. We'll look at it in the next slide. And other one is key-fold cross-validation. Also, we have different scoring method, starting from accuracy, which is the most known. We have confusion matrix, precision recall, F1 score, area under curve, loose root, and so on. And also we have external evaluation. Sometimes we concern about the processing time of our model and the size of our model. So here is how normally the data, or two different methods of splitting the data in two different phases. The first phase is the first method, which is also most known one, is the holdout cross-validation, where we split the data in two parts. We'll take the first part for the training phase and the second part for the testing phase. In the training part, sometimes we have also something called div set or validation set, where we use it for hyperparameter tuning during the training. So we'll not overfit on the training set. Then we'll test it. Normally, the split between the testing and training is 80-20, but it depends on the size of data set you have. We have also k-fold cross-validation, where we have different way. We'll split the data into a number of fold, let's say 10, or in this example is 5. And we'll train our data for example, in the 4 of the data, and one set will use it for validation or testing. And we'll do again with a different set, and again for all of them, then we'll get the average of the validation set. Again, we have also different scoring matrix in binary classification, and in multi-class, we have also micro, macro, average, and weighted average. Now, in the conventional way of evaluating intrusion detection system, we normally select any public data set. We'll use the same data set for either we'll use with the holdout method or the k-fold. Most of the time they're using the holdout method, and we'll report the performance of one of the metrics we mentioned before. And most of the time when we report such result, it shows in most of the papers is very high. And if we repeat it again with two popular data set, which is NSL, KDD, which is a refined version of the original KDD 99, and Guru KDD, which is another data set, which is a recreation of the original data set, but created from the scratch. we can see that the result we get is very high. So here we're reporting only F1 score, which is, we'll get later on why we need to report it. We can see that almost all of them will get 99% for binary classification in NSL KDD. And in multi-class also we get all of them 99% in decision tree, random forest, KNN, original or the artificial neural network or recurrent neural network by using GRU unit. Those result is suspicious, and those normally what's reported in the research. So we'll provide a different way to evaluate them. So instead of using the same data set, we need to use two different data sets. We'll use one data set for training and the other one is for testing. And the important part is both data set has been created in two different networks. So we'll see if there is an overfitting of in the network itself or in the data set that created in that network or not. So we'll train in the one data set, we'll test in the other. We report the accuracy of the testing data set. The data set we choose is as NSL and KDD and Guru KDD. Both of them, they have the same goal, but created in different network. So this is again visualization of what we'll do. And when we do that in NSL as a train and Guru as a test, we can see that the accuracy is 8, for example, in artificial neural network. The accuracy is 80%, but the F1 score, which is harmonic accuracy, is getting 9.58, which is again a pure randomness. It means that the result we are getting is just an overfitting and it's not representing a real result. So here is ANN, LSTM, which is recurrent neural network, and random forest. The same if we swap the data sets, so Guru KDD as a train and NSL KDD as a test. So the accuracy is 52, which is pure randomness, again 52, and the F1 score is less than 10%. If we want to investigate more, we use the tree-based models like random forest classifier, add a boost, and gradient boost classifier with different number of estimator, and we check the accuracy. In most of them is very high, and in the F1 score is very low. And the result in here we show the here is also we'll take the 5,000 tree of estimator. We'll test each one separately. We'll take the best perform. Here is the result of the feature importance in ADA boost and gradient.
Yeah,
for the
sorry
model.
for interruption. Less than 1 minute left, please.
How many? 3 minutes?
1 minute, please. Just let's jump to conclusion.
Okay, so I'll skip some of the slides. Skip those. After we did certain analysis and everything, we fix some of the problem, and we get where I skip. For the binary, at the end, we did some of the fixing in the data sets and in the model itself, and we can see that there is certain jump in the classifier. We try almost most of the known machine learning models. Most of the time is the tree-based models is getting the highest result, even though we're using also a lot of deep learning models. If we use NSL as a training and Guru as a result. And in multi-class classification as well, we have if we do multi-class classification and we group the attacks in certain group, normally we're getting very high result in the normality or normal label, more than the attacks. And we in the DOS attack also we get a higher result comparing with the rest of the group in the attacks. I think I went very fast, but if you have any question, I'm happy to answer.
For sure, the topic is very rich and the effort is clear. So thank you for the presentation, and we are sorry for the time limitation, but again, it's the rule. And now we have the input of our chair to
Yes.
ask and contribute. Yeah.
Shahid, your presentation was very nice, and you have done a lot of things for the intrusion detection systems. But there's you have did all the things is good, very good. But there is one question is you have the k-fold cross validations in your this, okay? And
Yes.
how you can optimize the value of k? What will be the value of k for your
That was not our concern in this research itself. But as I remember, is you can try different number of k. The most of the research that I see in intrusion detection system is they using k as 10, so can 10-fold k 10-fold cross validation.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you for
Thank
the
you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, so thank you for the presentations. Thank you for being part of this conference. And now let's conclude our session for today. So I sincerely thank you, our authors, and everyone who make this conference come true for the excellent participation and contribution in this session. And for sure, we hope that the presentations were informative and knowledgeable as expected. All of the participants will get their certificates, their email within couple of business days. So make sure to double check your email within couple of business days. And within 4 to 6 weeks, the publication will be there. We have already contacted and forwarded the content to Springer. All the best, and we hope for sure to see you next year, hopefully physically, and with better contribution and more success as what you are usual. Thank you, Seren Madam, for being here again. Thank you, our chair, for your input and the valuable contribution, your questions, guidance, and every single note for sure enhanced the efforts of the researchers on their projects. So we again appreciate everything, and even it's virtual and using Zoom, but still we will have a workaround to have a memory and the picture. So please turn on your cameras and let's have a picture to make it memory until next year, where we will hopefully can have another one together. I can see the diversity smiles. Okay, sorry, but before having a picture, I think Danielle, you have a question. You're raising your hand.
Yes, thank you very much for all your presentations. I just received a mail right now that I won't be able to do my own presentation because there was a little technical problem with my the receipt of my registration. According to them, they just received it yesterday. So I don't know what you people are going to do regarding now. I didn't get.
Yeah, Daniel, we can work on it on the break between the session, and you will be informed about the best way to solve this issue, and for sure you will be satisfied and your efforts will be appreciated. So let's talk after the session on more details, and now we will all have a picture, if you please. Okay, so the camera is again. Yeah. I apologize, and yeah, so all cameras, yeah, the nice diversity shall be kept in our records. So yeah, thank you again. Thank you for the presentations and the efforts. And as usual, let's count down 3, 2, and 1. Thank you again. Thank you, our chair, for the input and for the positive feedback that helped all of our researchers to improve their work. And we appreciate your trust in our conference. Hope to see you next year, hopefully physically again, after surviving from these hard circumstances. And thank you again. Stay safe and take care. See you in the next session after around 1 hour. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Durgesh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to organizer for inviting me as a session chair. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Take care and see you soon.
Thank you, sir.
On the next session.
How are you?
Fine, fine.
Okay, see you then in our next session. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Stay safe.